Code of Honor, the new Steven Seagal film. I was looking forward to this one because we had such a blast with Absolution. What did you think, Austin? This movie sucks, people!
Oh, God.
I know it's shocking that in 2016 a direct-to-DVD film with Steven Seagal would suck. It sucks!
This was awful. This was so bad.
It's, this was one of those Steven Seagal movies, too, where he's barely in it. Which I have to say, out of a lot of the Steven Seagal movies that you could tell he barely had any participation in, they wrote his character well to use him sparingly. I'll give him that. With that said, this movie sucks. So, do we recommend this even on a so bad it's good level? No. There's no dumb fun quality to it. The action scenes suck. It's just not a good film. So let's get right in. Let's get right into this.
Where do we even start?
I have no idea. So, Steven Seagal, his character name is Robert Sykes. Colonel Robert Sykes. And he's basically playing the Punisher. He is a widower, veteran, gone rogue, killing whatever criminals he can find in the city. Okay? So this movie has, no surprise, just awful CGI. I mean, oh my gosh. Every action scene, CGI blood, just awful transitions between scenes. The editing on these scenes transitions were just so amateur. The phoniest of all phony newsrooms. We see this news channel frequently throughout the film, and oh my gosh, the background looks so cheap. It's like on the level of like Birdemic, like that newsroom looking, just so bad. And there is slow motion everywhere in this film. And one other thing that I found hilarious is that the opening credits and the closing credits have a very 90s looking font to it. And
even the name of this movie, Code of Honor. That is so 90s.
Yes, that's a very, very 90s.
Under Siege.
Yeah, for sure. So Steven Seagal does not say a word for like the first 40 minutes of this film. And I actually kind of like that. We just see him... We literally just watch Seagal sniping down different criminals.
Very poorly.
Very poorly. And so we're introduced to our true main character, because it's not Steven Seagal. Our true main character is FBI agent William Porter, who is hunting down Seagal. And so we get our obligatory strip club scene, because every movie like this must have a strip club scene. And this scene would be only 5 minutes, but it was stretched out to 10 minutes because the entire scene is in slow motion.
Oh, it got so aggravating.
So, we cut to one of the main characters who is a stripper, who is she's a stripper, but she's a nice woman with a kid, and she leaves the strip club. So the only people left in the strip club are a bunch of bad guys who are blatantly holding guns out, strippers who do cocaine, and then cut to the creepiest up-close face shot of Steven Seagal sitting in the corner by himself smoking a cigar in slow motion. This looked so creepy. Oh, and don't worry, we're not the only ones, because the strippers in the makeup room are addressing him as the scary guy in the back. So let me go ahead and break down this entire scene for you.
What I think was going on with that scene is they got permission to shoot in a strip club, but the strip club said, okay, but only for 5 minutes. And so they shot it, and then they made it in slow motion so that it would be 10 minutes in the film.
Makes sense to me. So, let me break down this scene for you, okay?
Oh, God.
Lots of slow motion stripping. The nice stripper leaves. Seagal leaves a briefcase.
With a light on top, blatantly flashing.
Yes. In slow motion, walks out of the building, takes out a detonator, presses the button, and the entire building explodes.
Which, okay, giving this movie the tiniest bit of credit, that explosion did look practical.
Yes, it didn't look bad. It was a bunch of black smoke just shooting out of the doors.
But it wasn't CGI.
Also,
wasn't CGI.
Also,
there's other explosions that are totally CGI.
The car explosion in the very beginning looks pretty good too, where he detonates the car that's trying to leave.
Yeah, but it was surrounded by crap though.
Yes, it was. So, keep in mind, right before Seagal detonates that bomb, we see the bad guys in the strip club with the guns and all that. The strippers are literally walking up to them.
They're like giving them lap dances.
They're giving them lap dances. So in other words, the strippers and the bad guys are literally together when this bomb goes off. It cuts to the aftermath. All the bad guys are dead and the strippers are still alive. How did they survive that?
Even one of the characters in the movie brings that up, because later one of the bad guys is speaking to the other bad guy and he's like, yeah, 2 of the strippers survived. They're coming over their injuries. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
It's like
we have to acknowledge it. We'll just say, I don't know. Seagal just knew. So here's a great part.
Which doesn't even make sense, because later he kills innocent people anyway.
Yes. Well, we'll get to that. So it's like, so Seagal blows up this strip club, and it's like, okay, so Seagal's killing bad guys, but he just killed like some innocent strippers, right? Wrong. The strippers miraculously are still alive somehow. So it's like, okay, we kind of get that Seagal is this vigilante on the loose, but like, he's only killing bad guys, right? So this cuts back to the terrible fake-looking newsroom where the news reporter says a bomb attack at this strip club, okay? Keep in mind, the news reporters just said a bomb attack on the strip club. And then cuts to the crime scene where we find out that the strippers miraculously survived, and one of the main detectives is talking to one of the other main detectives, and he goes, you know what I think? It was probably a bomb. Amazing.
Excellent.
Just amazing. What can I say? And so then we get some more of the FBI guy, William Porter, who's the real main character, who looks like a combination of Sean Astin and Sean Bean, by the way. So this guy, Porter, the FBI agent, he knows who Steven Seagal is, okay? And so he's at the crime scene investigating this along with the detectives, because he explains to the detectives, this guy, Robert Sykes, he's been committing vigilante crimes all across the country, so it's my job to track this guy down, and we think he's here now, okay? So Sykes is like looking at this crime scene, and he looks over, and in this very small crowd of like maybe 10 pedestrians who are just witnessing this crime scene, all normal, skinny-looking people, there's Steven Seagal with his freaking backwards hat and shades and scarf, just standing there watching amongst everyone else.
And he's tall, too, so yes. he's like standing a foot above everyone. He is sticking
out horrifically. And so Porter the FBI guy tries to chase Seagal down. Seagal
miraculously
somehow disappears. I don't know how.
I don't believe he can move that quickly, but whatever.
And so then it cuts to like Agent Porter explaining to the local police the background of him. And of course he goes, Robert Sykes, decorated war veteran, won this medal, deadly, blah, 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 blah. It's like, of course he is, because in every Steven Seagal film, he has a perfect war resume. And he explains how Seagal's wife and kid were killed in a random drive-by, and since then, Seagal's become a vigilante on the loose. Here's a great line. So one of the main detectives asks Agent Porter, what does he look like? To which then Agent Porter goes, he has many faces. He blends in. He's a ghost. Guys,
what?
This is not Jason Bourne.
No.
It's Steven Seagal.
He's not hard to pick out of a crowd.
He is a great white shark with a creepy thick beard, sunglasses, a trench coat, a backwards hat that looks like a do-rag,
and a
ponytail, and a scarf. What do you mean he's a ghost and he's out of shape? He is not not the everyday man. He's a ghost. And so yes, we cut to the bad guys who owned that strip club that Segal blew up. It looks like Segal is going after this mob, which is run by a guy named Romano. Or is it
Romanov? Romanov or Romanov. I don't know.
Some
Russian.
According to Wikipedia, it's Romano.
Okay.
So Romano, sorry. This guy, he's played by a guy named James Russo. He doesn't have that many lines, and unfortunately, he doesn't have that much screen time. This mobster's performance is fascinating because he is a painfully generic mobster, and he has very generic and cliche lines, but it's not so much the way that this guy delivers the lines, it's his facial expressions. He is saying random stuff like, I want you to find this man and kill him, but like, his eyes are getting like really big, and then his face will get like all like crunched up.
And then he'll say like, I need you to find this man.
It's the weirdest
it's like,
bad performance ever.
It's like he got the script and he saw how generic he was going to be, so he tried to like do something himself to like mix it up, but it didn't work.
Yeah. So Agent Porter is doing some investigating on his own. We get the dumbest and most random mugging scene of all time, where he gets randomly jumped by these two very not-looking thugs in an alley, and FBI Agent Porter pulls out two knives like a lecture from Daredevil and kills them.
Like disembows them.
Yes. It's very random. I mean, I guess the point of this was to show two things. One shows that Agent Porter is a tough force to be reckoned with, and also very much hints that Agent Porter is not who he claims to be. Because FBI agents do not carry around knives to do their killing. And they don't just...
Well, and he just walked into a crime scene and just started pulling stuff apart.
But there's also a problem with this. Segal has barely been on screen, and at this point, Steven Seagal has not said a single word. And our real main character is Agent Porter, who we don't know, and it turns out that he's not who he says he is, but he's not really... Like, there's nothing to this character, and what we do know makes no sense because we're left in the dark. So what I'm trying to say is, this movie has such a thin plot that has left us in the dark with no character to be attached. So at this point, I'm just sitting here saying, I don't know who to root for, and I don't know what to care about. This does not change for the rest of the film. So we get more news footage and stuff, and they start... It's great. They're talking about Steven Seagal's...
Oh, this is when they started calling... Oh, my God.
So we get more random scenes of Steven Seagal just killing people, like killing a pimp, killing drug dealers, very random.
Those scenes are so random, too, because it's basically just, you see the setup of why the person's bad, and then you see Steven Seagal sniping them, killing them, and then the scene just ends.
And that's it.
And it goes back to the plot. It's like, what was the point of that?
Just to show that he's doing stuff, I guess. Yeah. So this is happening, and I didn't write this, so I can't remember if this was on the news, or if, like, or maybe one of the detectives says, but they said, yeah, he's like a vigilante. A super vigilante. And we said, super vigilante.
Wow, that would be really dumb if they started calling him that, right? Hey, we should start calling him super vigilante.
Right. So the mobster, Romano, keeps making hilarious and awkward faces. The nice stripper with the son gets attacked by the mobsters because they think she has something to do with the strip club blowing up. Agent Porter comes in for the save, and we get a terrible shootout scene between Agent Porter and the mobsters. This goes on way too long. It is horribly shot, terrible CGI, both gunfire and bullet wounds, gunshots. This goes on and on and on. Terrible slow motion, very unrealistic. And this is going on and on. And then the stripper runs away for safety. It's now down to Agent Porter and one of the mobsters. The mobster has him at gunpoint, but then Segal makes the save and kills the mobster. So we're like, maybe we weren't 40 minutes in, maybe we were like 30 minutes in. And there's this moment where Steven...
No, it had to be 40 minutes.
You think so? Okay. Yeah. So Steven Seagal stands there. stares at Agent Porter, and we think, okay, he's going to finally talk now. What is the first line that comes out of Steven Seagal's mouth? What's wrong with you, man? I wrote down, nothing's changed! Steven Seagal! Nothing has changed. And as I always forget this about his movies, especially his latest ones, he has...
The accent he's
the
trying
accent!
to do?
What is with that accent? It's like, talking like this, and it's like he's like...
But he's talking like that, but like whispering.
He talks like this.
Come on, man.
It's like...
What the hell, man?
It's like he's doing like a Dusty Rhodes impression. It makes no sense.
And like the terminology he uses, it's like he's a surfer. He's like, come on, man, let's go.
Well, yeah, he tries to talk like a gangster. He's like, yeah, my brother, yeah, brother. You know what I mean? Like, we gon' die tonight, brother. Yeah. So he has a very confusing conversation with Agent Porter. I had no idea what they were talking about. I had no idea what was going on. And so he basically just tells him, meet me at this club tonight and we'll talk some more. Okay, fine. Now time for the most random, confusing, and horribly edited scene in the film. After this terrible action scene, we are introduced to a new character with no setup whatsoever. The mayor of the city. By the way, this was shot in Utah with a budget of $8 million. According to Wikipedia. So
they spent $8 million to make this?
This was an $8 million project. Isn't that depressing? So, of all the good uses that $8 million could have gone to, they could have saved lives with that money. But instead, they had to make this movie. So, anyways, so cut to the mayor of this city, and he goes into the limo. There was a questionably younger girl in the limo. She cuddles up with him. At first, I was like, is this his daughter? But then he starts rubbing her and starts kissing her. I'm like, okay, obviously not. And the driver says, Mr. Mayor, your wife is on the line. And then this is how they decide to end the scene. It fades out. And not only does it fade to black.
It's like the circle fade where it's like the black starts at the edges and like goes
yes,
to the middle.
And it's happening.
It's like a sitcom
yes,
fade.
It's happening while he's talking. This was straight up from a sitcom. I was like, what is going on right now?
It was literally a sitcom fade. Like as he's talking.
Yeah.
He's like, tell her I'll be working late.
So the nice stripper woman with the son goes to stay with Agent Porter at his hotel room. So that's where she is. She's hiding out there. Cut to the club scene where Segal...
What was the name of the club? Did you write it down?
Devil's Garden.
Devil's Garden. Better than Club 1.
That's right. Better than Club 1. And to our knowledge, Segal didn't do a bad parking job this time. And it's not at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So Agent Porter is planning on meeting with Steven Seagal in there, and Agent Porter, of course, talks with the other detectives about busting him. And so Agent Porter says, I have to go in alone, but I'll let you know when it's time to bust him. So he goes into the club, and it's very important to point out that when he goes in the club, we have a security camera viewpoint of Agent Porter sitting down and talking to someone, but we can't see who's on the other side. And so we see this discussion between Agent Porter and Steven Seagal. This was, in my opinion, up until what would lead into it, I thought this was the best dialogue scene in the film. I actually thought, with the exception of some things here, I actually thought Seagal did a good job in this scene. Basically, it's him just explaining why he's a vigilante and why he thinks all these people deserves to die. And they're kind of going back and forth. There's a couple problems, though. The first one is this. After all these years, I still can't understand half of what Steven Seagal says anymore. And the other half, I mean, not the other half, but the other big problem is the end of this scene. So they're going back and forth, and then Agent Porter says, like, well, I'm taking you in whether you like it or not. And then he grabs his earpiece or whatever and says, his wire, and says, all right, guys, come in and get him. And Steven Seagal takes out, I guess, a jamming device and goes, you're not going to talk to them, I got a jamming device. And so then Agent Porter takes out his gun and holds it to Steven Seagal, and Seagal says, "You're not going to get up. I have a bomb strapped to the bottom of your chair. And the moment you get up, it's going to blow up." To which I asked, when would he have done this in the middle of a club? And by the way, Agent Porter has now had his gun blatantly out for about 30 seconds, and no one in the club seems to notice. Mm-mm. Only when Steven Seagal walks out of the club does all of the bouncers notice, hey, this guy has a gun. So then we get an action scene, all the mobsters / bouncers in the club versus Agent Porter. The story of this fight scene was that Agent Porter could not get out of his chair because if he did, the chair would explode. It was supposed to be creative. This fight scene sucked. It was horribly shot, terrible CGI. Excuse me. Not interesting, not exciting, not really anything impressive about it. It was so blatantly obvious that Seagal lied and that there was no bomb under the chair. He just did that as a bluff card, which it turns out to be the case. This was a really stupid fight scene. By the end of it, all the mobsters are dead except the main one, Romano, except he is arrested. Agent Porter he got shot in the process of this fight scene. So he's in the ambulance getting treated, and the detectives are talking about how it made no sense because we had no spotting of Steven Seagal. All we knew was that Agent Porter was in there, and all this happened with him in there. So they turn to talk to Agent Porter, but Agent Porter's gone. He disappeared like Batman. The detective goes up to the medic that was treating him and goes, "Where's the agent?" The medic, as if he's being bugged by the detective, without a word, shrugs and then just walks away. Great. So, cut to Agent Porter going back to the hotel, talking some more with the stripper girl, to which he tells her, "He's still out there," referring to Seagal. To which then she replies, "Who? The super vigilante?" And I thought, oh my, they're actually going to try to make this a thing. The super vigilante. So then we get a head-scratching, pointless scene where one of the people that died in the club shootout is the daughter of the senator. This senator character has not been in the film at all. She's just here. She confirms that that it's her daughter. She's talking to one of the detectives, and the detective says, "I'm so sorry about your loss." To which she says, "What are you sorry? You're going to get a promotion out of this," and walks away. What was the point of that scene? What did this have to do with anything? Oh, by the way, this senator character does not come back for the rest of the movie!
You only see her one more time and she doesn't even say anything.
She's in the background.
Yeah.
So, mobster Romano is being transported to court, and he gets assassinated by Steven Seagal, and that's that. And so it's like, okay, you're sitting there thinking, well, now that the mobster's killed, who's the bad guy? I mean, we still have the storyline of the FBI agent trying to find Steven Seagal, but there's not really a direct bad guy anymore. So then we get a very intense scene where we cut back to back with Steven Seagal and Agent Porter loading up weapons. And
basically getting ready for the finale.
Yes, and we see Steven Seagal very intensely clean and load his plastic guns. But it's at this point where I start to wonder something. A theory comes to my head, and I think, the way how they've been building this up, no one has talked to Steven Seagal except Agent Porter. I'm starting to wonder, are they teasing that this whole thing is all Agent Porter and that Steven Seagal is a figment of Agent Porter's imagination? To which Austin replied, "I don't think this movie's that smart." And so then Agent Porter goes rogue. He's gone. No one can find him.
Well, because they finally figure out that he actually is not with
He is not, in fact, with the FBI, which was very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two characters that we actually haven't talked about yet. The whole film, there's been this jerk reporter who has been reporting on all the vigilante crimes, and he's very sleazy, he's annoying, no one likes him. He gets a letter from Steven Seagal to meet for an exclusive interview. So, this reporter, I mean, granted, he's been a jerk throughout the whole film, but he's not a bad guy. He hasn't done anything criminal. He hasn't hurt anybody.
He's just been an annoying reporter.
Yes. He and his cameraman sit down with Steven Seagal. They have a brief exchange of words, and then, for no reason, Steven Seagal murders the cameraman and the reporter with knives. The same kind of knives that Agent Porter has. This made no sense at all. And so then it's realized that the mayor, who I guess is cheating on his wife, is the next target. Do they explain why he's corrupt, other than the fact that he cheats on his wife?
What?
Did they explain why the mayor was corrupt, other than the fact that he cheats on his wife?
No, that was it.
Okay. So, yeah, the mayor, I guess, is now the final target for Steven Seagal, or Agent Porter. So the main local detective puts it all together that this has, in fact, been all Agent Porter, and that there is no Robert Sykes. And so I sat there and thought, wow, they did go with that twist. Interesting. But that still doesn't make any sense. There's still a lot of questions unanswered.
Well, because as it was building up to this, you had that, and I was kind of like, okay, I could see how it's building up to that, but then I was like, but that doesn't make any sense, because so many scenes don't make sense with that, and I was like, okay, maybe that is what they're going with, and, that you're supposed to, let go of those scenes, but I still, in the back of my mind, was like, I don't know.
Yeah. And so, the mayor does get assassinated. It happens very nonchalantly, with no buildup whatsoever. And then it cuts to Steven Seagal, Agent Porter, confronting Steven Seagal on the rooftop. It's a double twist. It turns out that Steven Seagal does in fact exist, and that Steven Seagal is so brilliant that he has manipulated all this to make everyone think that Steven Seagal doesn't exist, and that Agent Porter has actually been behind it all. And so it's a double twist, which I'll give the movie credit. I did not see that coming, so I'll give them credit for that. So they have a back and forth for a while, and then they have their fight scene. It is one of the better fight scenes of the movie. Still very lame. Lots of obvious stunt doubles. So
lots of obvious shots, in the dark, where, you'll have a shot where you can see Seagal's face, and he'll be doing his stuff really slowly, and then it will mysteriously cut to a shot where he's completely in the dark, and all of a sudden he's moving faster. And then it'll cut back to him and he's moving slower again.
Yes.
It's like, okay.
So, then the PD helicopter shows up on the rooftop. Now, I guess Seagal's point of view is, one, I don't want to get caught, and two, I want to keep making it look like, I want to keep framing this on Agent Porter. So, there's a glass ceiling on the rooftop that Seagal decides to jump into to get out of sight. This, oh my gosh, we see a shot of a very thin man who is so not Steven Seagal. A thin man casually, and I mean casually, run up to the ceiling and just
jump through.
No. He does not jump through the glass.
He throws himself.
He tumbles into the glass and then just falls down. It was so hilarious.
Now cut to the helicopter. Can we talk about the helicopter?
Now let's cut to the helicopter. So cut to the helicopter. The two main detectives are in there. Austin, do you want to explain
the
this?
FBI guys.
Yes.
Okay, so this shot of these two FBI guys in the helicopter is like a shot straight out of Birdemic. I'm serious. It is so obviously, a pixelated, whatever they could pull off the internet helicopter with these two FBI agents just poorly green screened into the middle. I mean, they're standing. They're like nonchalantly standing, like swaying side to side. Oh my god, it looks so bad.
This was like a green screen in a living room. This looked so bad. And they showed 2 shots of it.
No, 3.
Oh, 3 shots.
Because remember, they went back to it later when he was about to blow himself up.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
They had to remind us again.
That's right. So Segal decides to plant a bomb in the building because why not? And Segal's going like, "I'm done, man. I'm done. So I'm ready to go." So we get another brief knife fight between him and Agent Porter. The helicopter spots Segal. The guy in the helicopter is about to shoot Segal. Segal pulls out his detonator. Agent Porter runs out of the room. And Segal blows himself up. And I wrote... Actually, I'll get to that in a minute. So Segal blows himself up. Presumably Agent Porter dies too. This made no sense. Like, what was Steven Seagal's motive here? Like, none of this makes any sense. If the idea was that Segal is just hungry for blood and he just wants to kill all the bad guys he can find, then why is he stopping? Why stop after the mayor, who didn't really...
And why did he kill the reporter and the cameraman?
And why did he kill an innocent reporter and cameraman? Unless the idea is that he's just gone too mad and unstable. But
he didn't kill the woman that the mayor was with, though.
That's right.
So if he would have gone off the hinge, then you think he would have killed her too.
None of this makes sense. And if the idea was like, well, he's done with the mayor, like, it would have made so much more sense if the mayor, if somehow the reporter, if all the people that he killed were somehow linked to the murder of his wife and kid. That's the only thing that makes sense, is that, like, this is all linked to the death of his...
But no, he's just killing...
He's just killing random people. Some are bad. Some are bad people, but not criminals. It just made no sense. This was so nonsensical. And between that and, like, just all of this, like, I just wrote down, like, what an empty movie. This movie sucks anyways. This movie was bad, but, like... it's just such an empty movie. Like, I feel so empty inside watching it. Like
I don't feel like I've gained anything.
Nothing was accomplished.
Yeah.
We got a terrible transition cut to daytime. Just, man, the transitions. Transitions from day to night in this movie are so awful. And, of course, it's teased that Agent Porter is still alive. Cool. Seagal's dead. Cool. And that's it. End of movie. This movie sucked.
Yeah.
Don't see it.
Cut to 90s credits.
Yeah, that's right. I have nothing to say. Like, this was kind of depressing. Like,
well, watching Seagal's emotionless face is kind of depressing, yeah.
It is. There was no Byron Man to make us happy like an Absolution. So yeah, it's a no from both of us. So thanks for listening, and skip this movie.